Hey guys, some people have said that they heard there was a surge in COVID cases in Japan recently and wanted us to talk about that. So yes, there has been, and yes, we'll get to that in a minute. Just to start off with though, these videos are always really unpopular for a number of reasons. Some people just don't want to hear about it. Some people think that we take COVID too seriously because it's all a hoax and that we take it too seriously. Other people don't think we take it seriously enough. So that's interesting, isn't it? We've got people on both sides of the fence there, both disagreeing with whatever we say because it's too serious or it's not serious enough, one or the other. But like we always say, all we do is report on what we see and hear and experience in Japan. And at the moment, COVID's in Japan, so it's part of the experience, so we talk about it. So just a few statistics, up-to-date statistics. 127 million people in Japan, that hasn't changed. 111,000 people have tested positive for COVID so far. 98,000 people have been discharged, sent home. There's been a total of 1,850 deaths. 1,850 deaths in Japan until now from COVID. So again, terrible and tragic and very sad. If one person is sick or one person dies, it's very sad, isn't it, and a tragedy. But we do also recognise that compared with some other countries, Japan's doing rather well. Just to clarify on that too, those of you who missed it already, a couple of interesting statistics. 30% of Japanese people say that from when they leave their home to when they return home, they wear a mask the whole time, irrelevant of whether they're with other people or not. Another, 66% say that they always wear a mask when they're with other people, which means if you put those two together, 96% of Japanese people are wearing masks when they're around other people. And then there's another 4% who never wear a mask for whatever reason, whether it's because they live in the countryside, they're not around people, or because they think COVID's a big hoax and they don't need to wear a mask, one or the other, who knows. Whatever the reason, 4% never wear a mask. So with those statistics in mind, and with the 127 million people that are in Japan, you know, one could conclude that maybe it's having some benefit. And then as far as the surge, yeah, there has been a surge. The last 7 days have averaged about 1,200 new cases a day, which is the highest numbers of new cases that we've had since August. So after August, the statistics went down, the numbers went down, and then the last week they've started going back up again. So it's probably fair to assume things have lightened up here as far as they've had the Go to Travel campaign that we talked about previously, encouraging people to go travelling and giving people 35% discounts off accommodation and all sorts of incentives to get people travelling because they're wanting to, you know, keep the tourism industry alive by getting people to spend money and travelling. And the Go to Eat campaign, which is terrible. It deserves its own video. We'll do a video about that later. The Go to Eat campaign is just a mess. Both those campaigns are unnecessarily bureaucratic and have an unnecessary amount of faffing involved. But the Go to Eat one's the worst. It's just useless. But the result of both those campaigns directly have encouraged people to move about and go places, but also indirectly, just the very talk, the government talking about the Go to Travel campaign and promoting it, and the Go to Eat campaign and promoting it, has sort of given the impression that everything's okay, and it's okay to move about. So it can't be a coincidence that as there is, you know, over the last few weeks, obviously the number of cases has started to increase again as people have got out and about and started hanging out with each other more. And again, the statistics show again, it's the people in their 20s are the ones that have the highest number of positive tests, and the people in their 80s are the ones dying. So the ones in their 20s are the ones sharing it. And again, we're not surprised by that. We see people in their 20s out in groups all the time, you know, groups of their friends, big groups of their friends all hanging around without masks on and hanging out with each other and stuff. So it's not surprising that they're the ones that are spreading it. Everybody is. I mean, there's the whole spectrum of people that are getting it, that are catching it and spreading it, but it's the people in their 20s are the predominant group. So not surprising really, just a more active lifestyle, don't they, and a more social lifestyle perhaps than other people. So yeah, that's that. And then What else are we seeing? Oh yeah, just before we go too, want to always, as always, wherever you are in the world, if your lifestyle is reasonably normal or your income's reasonably normal at the moment, anything you can do to support small business people or small businesses, small family-owned businesses, anything you can do is obviously worth doing. You know, if you can go and buy a cake or a cup of coffee or spend a little bit of money doing something that's going to help a family out. You know, obviously it's a really good thing to do. It's going to really help them survive. Because those of you who haven't operated small business, you know, operating a small business can be really, really difficult as it is. But this year, for some people, it's been impossible, you know, because they just can't get the income. We have to always add too that we're in that boat too, that we're self-employed as well. And this year our income has dropped to about half of what it normally is. So we've been really lucky. A few people have stepped up their Patreon support and have been really supportive, and we really appreciate that. A couple other people have been sending support for the channel through PayPal, which we really appreciate as well. Unfortunately though, a few other people have been in a bad situation themselves, and their Patreon, they've had to stop supporting us. So again, if you like our videos and our photos, or our photos, if you like what we are doing and you want us to continue doing what we're doing, and you're not on Patreon already, please consider having a look at our Patreon page and supporting the channel on Patreon. If you are on a Patreon already, you can step up your support. We'd really appreciate it. The only other option we've got other than the Patreon support, because of course YouTube doesn't pay anything, the only other option we have is to go get part-time jobs, which we're happy to do, but we'd prefer to do what we're doing. We prefer making videos and taking photos and showing you guys that stuff, you know. So we'd prefer to keep doing that rather than stop doing that and go and get part-time jobs, you know. So yeah, anything you guys can do to support us, always in the comment section or the description, sorry, the description underneath our videos is always a link to Patreon. So if you haven't had a look at that already, please have a look at that. Other than that, yeah, everything's pretty sort of normal in Japan. I mean, for some people their lives are pretty normal. They're just having to wear masks more often and wash their hands more often and that sort of stuff, but their lives haven't changed terribly much. We know both groups of people. You know, we know the people like us who either their small businesses are struggling or their employers are struggling and they've had their work cut down. A lot of university students we know have had their part-time jobs stop. So obviously people like that are sort of having a hard time. But we also know people whose lives haven't changed much at all. Out here in the countryside, we know a lot of country people, farmers and so on, who are just doing their normal thing, out driving tractors around and stuff like that. So their lives are reasonably normal still. So, and for Japanese people, washing your hands and wearing masks and all that sort of stuff is fairly normal. So, I can hear people clicking the dislike button every time I mention masks. Some people really have an aversion to them, don't they? Anyway, isn't that a scene? So, that's enough on this topic. So yes, it was true, there has been a spike in cases. We're hoping it'll settle down again. Those who missed it last time, they've been talking about us getting a vaccine by the beginning of the year. So by January we should be getting vaccines to the essential workers first, and then slowly filter them way down to the unessential people like us, over a 6-month period they reckon. So between January and June they'll be dispensing the vaccine to people, so really looking forward to that, of course. So anyway, that's all that. In the meantime, might leave you looking at that view. It's pretty nice, isn't it? Enjoy the tranquility. Feel the tranquility. More videos coming soon.